In today's video, we're going to be exploring less than lethal options, which are a great compromise for some folks that might want to protect themselves, but don't want to have to worry about using deadly force. Thanks for joining us on Shoot of the Series. I'm Ed Thorell, and we'd like to thank you all for viewing. And if you're a first-time viewer, we appreciate you stopping by. Today, we're going to dive into an area of self-defense using tools that are known as less than lethal. Doesn't mean they won't hurt you. It just means they're not liable to kill you. Now, because of that, there are some people out there that once they get the gravity of what a firearm will really do, they have second thoughts. And working behind the counter, it was common for us to ask people when they were considering a firearm, are you actually willing to use lethal force in taking a life? And you might be surprised how many people pulled back with that question. So there's people out there that want to defend themselves. They just don't want to kill anybody and have to carry that with them. So what we're trying to do today is just give a couple of options for other things that are out there, and with the understanding that you are making a compromise. I mean, these aren't going to kill anybody, or they shouldn't. And as a result of that, you're making a compromise with your safety, because you're setting a bottom limit for what it would take to actually stop an attack and make an attacker decide that he wants to move along and not attack you. So we've got a couple of things here from a company called UMAREX, and they're one of many companies that make these that basically use an air cartridge to propel either a hard rubberized ball or a type of ammunition that spreads out a powder. We're going to be talking about those. Within the UMAREX line, you're going to find out that the great majority use what's known as a 12-gram CO2 cartridge, but for their compact model, they're going to use an 8. So the 8-gram cartridge is going to have less propellant behind it, but it's also meant to go into a smaller package that's a little bit more comfortable for maybe people that don't have the strength to hold up something heavier. So we want to start, and I'm going to start here by talking about one of their larger models. This one is the HDP50 generation number 2, and it's very close in weight and balance to like a Smith & Wesson. It's got that feel to it. It's got a good heft. It comes with some features that shooters are going to recognize. It's got a nice texture on the grip. It is also going to come with a trigger, very similar to a Glock, that has a safety built inside to it. It's going to also have Picatinny rails if you wanted to add, say, a light to it to identify your target if you need to. And it also comes with a pair of sights. Now, the sights might be kind of hard to see from here. They have got some, basically they are a green 3-dot that uses a green dyed filled tube that when exposed to sunlight really jumps out. So I was kind of surprised, but these actually have a decent set of sights, which I think are important for being able to get onto target. Now, this does not come with what you would consider a magazine for loading it. The way that it works is you can see right here is a little bit of a spring that's shining through. And what you're going to do is you want to be able to activate this spring and push it all the way to the end and hold it. And you can see this little hole right here, where you drop in the balls. Now, I'm going to take a minute here just to show you what those look like so we're on the same page. And these are the rubber variety. And these look to be a hard plastic that are covered with a rubberized sort of texture. So, I mean, it does soften the bounce a little bit. But once again, to load these things, you move this spring all the way over and hold it, and then you're able to drop these in one at a time. This will hold 6. It's also worth talking about another model that they have out there, their compact version. This one is going to be a little bit different. It has sights on top. I'm only going to tell you that these sights are difficult to use. And with any of these, you're going to have to practice to gain proficiency. You're going to want to practice with these like in your garage or in your backyard until you become comfortable with the sights. And the way that this is loaded is it has a hinged component where you're basically going to be doing the same thing. You might be able to see here where right there, there's a little bit of a control handle, and we can drop the balls in one at a time, like that. Close it up. It's going to hold less, but that's how you get away from having a secondary magazine and keeping these things as uncomplicated as possible. So these are made to be as easy as they can be, but you're still going to have to spend time with them and get proficient with them. This also comes with a trigger safety, very similar to the Glock, that's also in the trigger assembly. The other thing that they both have in common is that they take the CO2 cartridge, which is going to go inside the grip. And you're going to want to utilize this great big knob here so that you can get entrance to this chamber to drop it in. And these use something very similar to a thumb screw. And the best way to articulate how they operate is almost like, you know, a child-proof cap on a medicine bottle. You're going to have to push down hard to get it started for it to release. And then once you've done that, it's going to come out. It's going to have kind of a cup on one end. Within that end is a, you can see it's spring loaded, and we'll get into that in a second. This will drop right in, and you'll replace this. And once you get down to the bottom, you're going to want to push hard on it so that it goes all the way in, and you'll feel it stop. Something that's common to both of these is that the CO2 cartridge remains unopened and still intact until the time that you actually need it. And because it's got this spring built into it, if you tap the bottom really hard, that is going to puncture it and let the gun know that it's ready to be used. So with that being said, we're going to move out to the backyard and try some of these out. All right, well, we're back. We're going to run this larger full-size UMAREX through its paces. I've got 6 rounds. This has never been fired before, so this is going to be a surprise for all of us. While we're outside, though, I did want to give you just an update for what our sights look like. And I got to tell you, those are pretty nice sights. Those are pretty easy to find. So here we go. We're going to pop it. We should be ready to go. Keep in mind, I've never fired this before. And this is where I drop the gun and walk away. That should be it. There was one more in there, so that would be 5 shots. All right, we're going to set this down. So far, I'm pretty pleased with the accuracy. I mean, we're only at about 5 yards, and it's not a measured 5 yards. But the first round went right through the center. So I'm going to call that a good thing. All right, here we are with the compact version, and we're going to see how this handles. Tap the bottom, charge it. That's empty, safe and clear. And what I'm going to do now is I'm actually going to load up a few of what they call the powder balls. And this, we're just going to shoot 3. These are inert powder. These are not pepper ball cartridges. Those in particular are illegal in the state of California. These, I don't know what they're going to do other than say, mark the suspect. I don't know that these are going to hit nearly as hard, but we're going to give them a try anyway, just to see what they do. All right. I'm going to shoot a little bit off to the left of center, just so we doesn't get visually impaired by the rest of the holes. Ow. Okay, we fired the 3. I'm just going to check because it's kind of my nature. All right, we are safe and clear. Let's take a little walk up forward and see how we did. So we're just shooting at a single sheet of cardboard, nothing in particular. But what we did do is we also set up a secondary piece behind us, mostly just so we didn't put a bunch of marks into the, into my fence. But you can see that even these went all the way through the cardboard. So you can also see where the powdering took place. I don't know what the practical applications are of the marking round, but it's one of the options. This right here is one of the recovered rubber covered plastic balls, and it looks like it's okay. What I'm going to do is I just want to pull off the cardboard and see what it looks like on the back, and hopefully it didn't go all the way through. Nope, we're okay here. I mean, we can see where we picked up some of the powder. We've got one ball that's stuck in the cardboard and another one here that went, here it is somewhere, we'll get it out. Anyway, it's between the boards, not that important. And we're going to spend a little bit of time when we're done here picking up all of these little rubber balls because we intend on using them again. Anyway, stick with us because we got a little bit more to tell you about. All right, well, we're back from the range to do our little report and give you our impressions of how this all worked. I did want to, kind of sum up some of the things that we discovered. One of the things that's worth mentioning is that both of these are empty, except they do still have the CO2 cartridges. And one of the things that we discovered was that on the back of these, they have what's called a chambered round indicator. So didn't realize it until after I got started shooting, but it became even more pronounced when we wrapped up, that once that you charge the CO2 cartridge, you're going to have this little button that pops out in the back that you can run your finger over, and you'll be able to see that if that's sticking out, that that it's charged. Some of the things that we also noticed was, due to the fact that I wasn't wearing ear protection, it sounded to me like the hard rubber balls actually were a little bit louder than, say, the ones that were just filled with powder. And it's worth mentioning here also that the powder cartridges look very different they're blue and white. So these are colored as opposed to just having the black rubber so that you don't get them mixed up. We also want to talk a little bit about how they performed. And for me, I actually preferred the performance of the larger one, and a lot of it had to do with because of the features. For me, the fact that it's got a magazine that's going to hold 2 additional rounds, plus the sights. The sights are a very big deal to me. My very first shot, I was really focused on the target, and I was able to put one right through the center, which kind of surprised me. And then after that, I was pretty much just having fun and trying to keep it on the target. I think it's worth noting, though, that if you can keep everything on a piece of copy paper, you're probably in pretty good shape. That transfers, to what they would call the A zone for the, thoracic cavity. The triggers worked about the same. I really couldn't tell if one had a better trigger than the other. I'm betting they're the same. They reacted the same. It just, for all around shooting, this was a better gun to shoot. And a lot of it is because it fits my hand better and because it has better sights. Now, that's not to say that the smaller version doesn't have certain advantages also. It's referred to as a compact, and it is a little bit smaller in comparison. So if you were concerned about the weight of it or the space that it takes up, this is a solution also. I would say, though, that I didn't care for the sights very much. They were hard to see. So, that's a compromise also. The other thing that we have to talk about a little bit is the legalities of these, because here in California, these can be purchased off the shelf. They are not considered firearms, so they don't have to be registered as such. These don't come with a waiting period because they are not firearms. Earlier, when we were here, I mentioned I basically called one a gun. It's not. It's not a firearm. That's just me making a mistake because it's so familiar with my vocabulary. But these are not firearms, and they're not considered firearms. In the state of California, the hard rubber balls and the, I don't know what you want to call these, they're just the powder balls. Those are both legal. But it's worth noting that there is another type of ball known as a pepper ball, which is kind of like pepper spray that's built into the powder. And those are not legal in the state of California. So it's important that you learn about the legalities of where you live and what your local laws are so that you're good in the state and you're good in your city so that you don't end up going to jail even though you had good intentions. You still have to do your homework. It's also worth noting that there's a good chance that if you're a prohibited person that's not allowed to own a firearm or a weapon, that these could very well also be unavailable. So it's up to all of you to do the homework to make sure that what you're doing is legal and safe wherever you are. One more thing that we wanted to mention is, we just came in after a long day on the range shooting, and this is the cleaning tool that they provide. And they basically call it a bore squeegee. And what you're going to do to make this work, to clean out any residue, is you're going to want to push this little thing forward so that it becomes more rigid. And with that, you're going to be able all the way in, just like that. That's the open position. This is the closed cleaning position. You're going to push this all the way into the end of the barrel. You're going to move this backward, and then you're going to be able to pull this out. And if there's any extra oil or residue, clean out the bore. I haven't used this enough to know. There's a little bit of gunk on the edge, so we're going to call it clean. I'd like to thank all of you who came out to enjoy the video. I really hope you hit the like and the share button because that really helps us get noticed with the algorithms, and we can use all the help we can get. So subscribe to us, and that way you don't risk missing a single exciting episode. I'm Ed Thorell. Y'all take care.